Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. What a massive week we've already had as Arsenal fans. And it's only Monday. It's literally only Monday, but it's already been a big week for us. Obviously, against Newcastle, we lost over the weekend. A huge, basically a huge knock in terms of our title race. And next up, it's Inter Milan. Inter Milan, listen, this is not a game that expected us to win at the beginning of the season. I did say we're going to win 5 games, draw 2, and lose 1 in the Champions League phase. And this is the one that expected us to lose. So is that going to happen as well? We don't really want that to happen because we've already lost to Newcastle this week. We don't want it to be, consecutive losses. And then over the weekend is Chelsea. And there's been a lot of talk of, now that Edu has left, we'll be talking about this one throughout the week. Now that he's left, people are asking, is this now the downfall of Arsenal? Is this now the end of Mikel Arteta? The fact that we've lost to Newcastle, is it the end of our title race if we lose to Inter Milan and to Chelsea as well? Is this the week that you're going to look back at and you're like, yeah, that's the week that everything capitulated? Or are we going to look at it like that's the week that, hey, we saved our season and everything turned around for us, and look at us, we're now Premier League champions and now Champions League winners? Who knows? It's going to definitely be a crucial week, so we will be discussing Edu throughout the week. But in this one, let's focus on Inter Milan and the game that you're going to play against them at San Siro. And listen, I've seen us going to this ground a few times. Not really against Inter Milan. That was some time back, I think 2004-5 there, when we went and scored 5 goals. Edu actually scored in that game. I remember us going to AC Milan twice back in the times we beat us like 4-0 and they had Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and there's a time where we went there and won with Fabregas and Adebayo scoring. So I've had some good moments and some bad moments against them over the last 2 decades. But this is definitely not going to be an easy game. When I looked at the draw and I was like, okay, PSG, Inter Milan, Shakhtar, Sporting. I was like, okay, those away games against Inter Milan and Sporting, those are the ones that are going to be really, really tough for us. I expect us to win almost all the others and maybe a couple of draws, but we've already drawn in Atalanta. The last time we went to Italy 2 months ago, it was not easy. We should have lost that game to Atalanta, and this is not going to be easy. I watched Inter Milan a lot, and recently they almost drew with Venezia. They didn't really play that well, but they're still a very strong team. They already played Man City this season. They drew 0-0 at the Etihad. They've not conceded a goal in the Champions League so far this season, just like us as well. So they have a very good defensive record. The way they play the back five, they have a very strong defensive line, from their goalkeeper Sommer and the likes of Dimarco and Augusto and Bastoni and Dumfries and Damian. All those guys are very, very strong. And even players like Mkhitaryan in going forward, a player that we had is looking really good these days. And obviously there's a threat of players like Thuram and Çalhanoğlu and all those guys. So it's definitely not going to be easy. But if you go to Inter Milan and you win that game, the mood completely changes, and then you go into that game against Chelsea confident, and you basically shut a bit of the noise that is going on, because away from home in the Champions League, we've not been doing well. Like last season, we lost to Lens. We beat Sevilla in a very good game, but we lost to Bayern. We drew with PSV. We lost to FC Porto away last season as well. This season, we've already drawn in the Atalanta away, a game where if it was not for air, we should have lost. So if you go to Inter Milan and pick up a win, that would mean 3 wins and a draw out of 4 games, a big away win against Inter Milan, a big home win against PSG. We're going to be in and around the top 4, and a couple of more wins and you're through in the top 8. And who knows, if you get 3 wins from the remaining 4 games after that, you are going to be probably top of that league phase. So this is a make or break game. Now, if you had beaten Newcastle, even if you hadn't beaten whatever, I think Chelsea game is more important than this one, because in the Champions League, you need to win your home games, and then the away games, you try and pick up a draw. Now, I think that is what you're going to try and do. And on top of that, what do we do with the team and the squad and all that? Do we rest players for Chelsea and risk losing this? The problem is you don't want to go into that Chelsea game after losing to both Newcastle and Inter Milan. If you had beaten Newcastle, I would have been saying, listen, against Inter Milan, rest Saka, rest a couple of more players. That game against Chelsea is a make or break, because I think if you lose to Chelsea, 10 points behind Liverpool, I think that is too much. So that is the most crucial game, bigger than this one. In the Champions League, even if you lose this particular game and win the others, you can still finish top. But again, we don't want to go into the Chelsea game having lost to both Inter Milan and Newcastle. I'd join this game, I'd be okay with the win. Absolutely perfect. Like, we're going into that game against Chelsea having beaten Inter Milan, that would be huge for us, because it's been a tough week already. We don't want it to be, even worse in terms of everything. So Let's see how it goes, though. Inter Milan, not an easy game for sure. This is the toughest game that we have in the league phase. I think next time against Sporting is going to be a hard game as well. But we have to get through it. This is a test because the big games away from home so far in the Champions League, we failed even before we went on the Champions League drought in terms of not being there. We were losing heavily against teams like Bayern Munich away from home. So we've not done well away from home in the Champions League in a while. So can this game be a change of our fortunes? Let us see. How will the players be feeling after Edu leaves? How will that be feeling ahead of this game as the pressure now piled on? Because for me, the relationship between Edu and Ato was really good because you want your director and manager to get along and your head coach to get along. You don't want it to be like, okay, the way we've seen with Chelsea and the other teams where there's a lot of chaos and this one wants this one, this one wants this one, and it's a lot of chaos. So how will Atta feel after this? Will he feel like, okay, now the pressure is on? Will he really feel like I need to stay, I need to go? Who knows? So let's see how let's see how the response is from this game, from Arteta and from the players. Which squad would I go for? This is the lineup I would go for in this game. Ryan goal. The back four decided to rest Timber for the game that is coming up. So I have Kivio, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White at the back. Inter Milan definitely going to create chances. I mean, yes, I say they only scored one against Venezia, but they also had a 4-4 draw against Juventus recently. So you might get into them and try and score a couple of goals, but I don't know if our approach will be that. So I think this game it's looking like a draw, but who knows? If you don't play well, they could easily score a couple of goals. Inter Milan, so we'll need to score as well. Midfield, we'll have Partey, Rice, and Trossard. I thought about resting Partey for this one, but I think Atsa will actually go for Partey, Rice, and Merino because the kind of game away from home against Inter Milan in the Champions League, Chananoglu, Mkhitaryan, Barella, all those guys. I think he's going to go for Merino, Partey, and Rice. And the fact that Trossard has not been playing well, I don't think he's going to start Nwaneri in this one. So I think we're going to see Rice, Partey, and Merino. And then up front, Saka, Martinelli, and Havertz. So that is my lineup. And then on the bench, Neto, Setford, Zinchenko, Lewis Kelly, Timber, Merino, Jorginho, Nwaneri, Jesus, Sterling, Haven, and Kakuri. So I did initially think, should I rest Saka for this game and start Jesus? But I don't want us to go there and lose and not create any chances. And I would give Saka like 60 minutes and then take him out, like the way Liverpool did with Salah against Leipzig before our game. They were like, okay, we're going to give you 60 minutes, no matter what the score is, you're going to be taken out. So I think that's the same thing we need to do with Saka. I was thinking Jorginho to start ahead of Partey. I want us to rest two players. So I've already rested Timber. So who would be the other player that you would rest, or would you just go full throttle for this game? Because I really do think the Chelsea game is very important. If you win against Inter Milan, you almost secure the next round. You only need like one more win and one more draw, and you're finishing in the top 8. If we draw, not the end of the world, good result. If we lose, a bit of pressure now because we've already lost to Newcastle. People will be looking at the Champions League now. Some people think the Premier League is already over, but no, the Premier League is definitely not over yet. Liverpool have Aston Villa this week. We have Chelsea. Who knows if Liverpool draw points against Aston Villa and we beat Chelsea, it's already closed. But yeah, I think this particular game, the way teams have been approaching, like as we saw with Bayern Munich and Barcelona. Bayern Munich just went and got trashed at Barcelona and at Aston Villa, both games. As long as you win your home games, the way they've arranged this Champions League these days, many teams are just looking at the home games as let's win the home games and draw a couple of away games and win the top 4. So that is, I think, how we're going to look at it. But let's see how it goes. Big week now. We will be discussing the Edu situation throughout the week. Let me know what you make of that first of all, and how big is this game for you? Do you think it's a must win, or do you think it's just a draw and get out of there and focus on Chelsea? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.